The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I am Doug Vincent, joined with Addie Rich. Stand by.
Yes.
Got to get the official introduction out.
Going by.
Yeah, I am joined by Addie from the land of peaches and southern charm. Addie Rich, who loves fall so much, she probably has pumpkin spice running through her veins. Is there any truth to that?
Not today.
Not today.
Today it's apple cider tea. I found a tea that tastes like apple cider. So
Very
currently
nice. Very nice.
fueled by apple cider tea. But yeah.
Little change of pace for you.
It's a change of pace. You know, I got to be fall-ish, but not stereotypical. When have you ever known me to be stereotypical?
No. Oh, man. So I'm a polio survivor, and Addie is...
Full of CP? I don't know. Full of many things,
Yes.
but affected by CP.
I had a friend just a couple of weeks ago that went apple picking with a group, and I'd never heard anybody just berate apple picking so much. She's like, what? What is the point? I mean, I can just go to the store. Why am I picking apples?
Oh my gosh, and like, mind you, that's the thing that I wait for. However, most of the orchards are like not handicap accessible, so
Yeah.
I go to the store that is down below the orchard and buy the fresh picked. But I like the whole vibe.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sorry.
Did you get recipes?
Where was your friend though?
There's a place up in what do they call, above Ukaipa. What is it called? But there's a whole apple area there where everybody goes up there and does that.
Like Apple Valley or something.
Yeah.
But it's too hot. You guys see, I don't feel like you, I get why she could be berating it because you guys don't have like the 4 seasons. I have the 4 seasons. So the leaves are changing. The air is crispy. You're not like sweating your guts off.
We do get that,
Barely.
Barely. Okay.
I'm just being,
All right.
I'm just being a 4 seasoner over here.
The 4 seasons are here. In 20 minutes, I could be to where it's 28 degrees when it's 75 here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
You got that? Huh?
That's crazy. No.
Okay.
It takes more than 20 minutes. All right.
And 45 minutes in the other way, I could be at the beach.
I know.
Yeah, California.
I don't like you for that.
That's California.
That's what I miss about home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
So good time. So what else happened this week for you?
Well, there was a friend of mine whose birthday's on Halloween, and we have a tradition of going to the Native American powwow that happens every year that weekend at Stone Mountain.
Those are fun.
I feel like that's where I become a full Hallmark movie because they do a dance in where they do an invocation and all the different tribes and stuff come in and everything. And I'm always crying by the middle to the end of it, and I always have goosebumps because it feels like attending someone else's religious ceremony. So, even if you go to a church and you don't necessarily, that's not your church, there are times that can move you. And I feel like going there and watching people do their dances and speak their languages and things is just powerful because it's another human's experience. And it's suddenly like the silence descends on the circle and everybody's just there in a bubble. And I love it. I love it so much.
They invite you in. I mean, it's very participatory, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, so for here, it runs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Thursday and Friday are education days for schools and kids. So over that Thursday and Friday, they said there were 9,000 kids that came through. So that's so cool. And we go on Saturdays.
Is it one tribe or multi-tribe?
Multi-tribe. So it's pretty much like anybody who wants to come can come, and they do lots of cool like education stuff. And I love seeing the regalia, which is the outfits and feathers and things they wear, because we learned while we were there, they do not call it the C word because that's rude. So I got
I'm trying to think of what the C word. We won't say it, but what's this?
Well, the thing you wear on Halloween, because to them, it is not that. It is their culture. It is not a costume. I'll say it.
Oh, costume. Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
It was very cool that the guy that hosts that he acts as the host for the day was explaining the difference about like why it's important not to say that, because it is culture. It's not something you got at Spirit Halloween. So that was really cool to understand.
Is it okay to wear the regalia for Halloween? No.
Not really. Not trying to like imitate something you're not. And the idea that this is a whole chance.
Well, I'm not
to,
a
like,
ghost either.
Well, I know. I don't know. That's political.
Should we back away?
But I mean, it's very cool. We should back away from that. It's just cool that
they are cool. I've been to the powwows here, or powwows here, yeah.
No, there's this one family that they do it every year, and they're part of the Aztec nation that comes out of Mexico, and they start teaching their kids the dances and things at 3 years old. And so because I've been going for 10 years, the husband's kids danced this year instead of the parents, and it was amazing. I was like, how can they be old enough to dance?
And you're singing along. Right? No, why not? Yeah, I told you I went to Randy Plummer, a former guest here on Walk Around Live,
Randy.
and his graduation ceremony. Wow. The whole thing was just awesome from beginning to end. But yeah, they took us outside for the blessing. And like I say, I mean, it wasn't like you were observing, only Indians. And I you know what? And I say that because in talking to, the people there, his relatives, all of that, yeah. I was saying Native Americans and they were saying Indian. So I'm like, I guess, I don't know if it's one of those things you can say, they can say, we can't say. I don't know, but yeah. But, and then the singing. Oh, yeah, that was awesome. I guess
that's what makes me cry.
Yeah.
And that's what gives me the chills is because they always have like the drum troops and they have, some of the elders are really elder. And I've seen them like for all the years. And once they start, it gets in your veins. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. Oh, no, it was great. And I got to sit at the table I sat with this lady that was just filling me with knowledge, and just the passion, and the enjoyment she was getting from sharing it with me, I could tell. So it was really awesome.
So that's what I did. I really enjoyed it. And it kind of fills my cup. For waiting for next year.
So we kind of mentioned Halloween a little bit. Is that was it huge at your house? You have lots of people or not?
No.
Yeah.
I had no trick-or-treaters. My driveway is too long and like our neighborhood is pretty quiet. We're pretty deep in here. How about you?
Just like a handful, maybe 5 little groups. And that was it.
Did you get candy?
What's that?
Did you hand out candy?
I did hand out candy, yeah. And
okay.
If I knew it was only going to be 5 groups, I would have handed it out. Each one would have had a big handful because now I've got to eat it all.
Oh yeah, that's the requirement. If it's left, you must eat it.
And I get what I like, so.
Right.
Yeah, so that was fun. And my daughter had a birthday over the weekend, and my granddaughter, went to her soccer game where she got 2 goals this week. They played really well. And it was from just last week to this week.
Yeah.
Was something clicked in them. All the girls.
Yeah.
They just somehow seemed like they got the concept of the game a little bit more. And they were all attacking really well. So it was in a losing battle, but still, a win because they made so much progress, I think. So yeah, that was enjoyable. And then that's it. Yeah, just a few things here and there, the usual routine, boring things. But other than that, a good weekend. So, want to thank our guest from last week, Peter DeHaas, SFDBA. Do you remember what that is?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
San Francisco. That's the easy
San Francisco
part.
Disability. Are you playing a game with me? You tell me what it is.
I'm trying to think myself.
I thought you were messing with me.
I've got doing business.
I know the DBA messes with me, doing business as, but that's not Disabilities Business Association, right? Wow.
We're horrible. We are.
I'm like, my God, we're going to have to cut out that whole.
I do know they help people with disabilities who are entrepreneurs with their businesses.
Yeah. Okay.
But you can still find it very easily because sfdba.org. So you don't really need to know all the words, but you can find them there and you can find out all about them. And thank you once again, Peter, for coming on. We appreciate it.
And their event's coming up.
Their event is, today, I think. Is it today or tomorrow? It's on our website, again, on the events page. But it's 11/4 or 11/5. Yeah. So stop on by, no admission cost and all that. And you can kind of pick their brain, learn, get together with them and collab, whatever you want to do. All right. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, please, as you enjoy another episode of Walk and Roll Live. Coming up today, we have an interview with a guy I met him at least 15 years, maybe closing in on 20 years ago. And he goes by One Arm Willie. His name is Willie Stewart. And he left the area, and took me a while to get the right number, the right email and everything to contact him, because from the moment I did this, I knew I had to have Willie on. So today is the day. So stand by. And we'll get right to that after we hear from Ugyar Professional Training.
At Ugyar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Ugyar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Ugyar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
From the Ugyar Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
I've got my flaws, my highs, my lows, my own heart's fire. I laugh and cry, I break, I'm then just like anyone. I'm not your symbol of courage, I'm just me, done. I've got dreams that soar, fears that bind, moments of grace and times I'm blind. I'm not your hero or your saint, I'm real, I'm raw, no restraint.
Thank you for listening to Walk and Roll Live, and we have a guest I've been trying to hunt down and get on the show for a long time, and I don't know how many numbers I had for you, but none of them were working. And then Josh at Possibilities finally he texted me a number, and it worked. So we've got Willie Stewart here today. You've heard us talk many times about Possibilities over at Loma Linda, and he was the gentleman that kind of got me involved. You probably know a part of the story that I don't know, but I've told here that I was working at Cape Frog Radio here locally, and the salesman was, he was an athlete. He did triathlons. He was avid bike rider, all of those things, and I imagine there was a conversation at some point between probably you and him. And that said, we've got a guy that's a crutch user over at the station. Maybe we can get him involved in the triathlon and kind of make some event around it. And all of a sudden I'm riding a hand cycle, So Willie Stewart is here. How you doing, bud?
I am unreal. At the moment, someone's calling me, so I hope I don't muck you up. I'm just looking for which button you push to get rid of this. Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, we'll give it a few more seconds. There, they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of funny, Doug, because that was an interesting time of my life too. Because remember, I came from Colorado, where I live, and that's when I was with the Breckenridge Outdoor Education Center. And I had, I was a program director for them, and I had Keystone, A Basin, Copper Mountain, Breckenridge. That's a big program running around multiple mountains. And, when you come down from the mountaintop into the Front Range to Loma Linda, and so I
Literally.
From the mountaintop in Breckenridge, I was folding towels at the Drayson Center at Loma Linda University for $6.02 an hour, and wow. I took that job because one, I like the athletic center, and I also felt like it's important to be part of society in any way you can. And if it takes me to be paid $6.02 an hour, then that's what you can pay me.
Yeah.
And I took the job and I did it with the best I could. And that's the way I've always approached things. It's not how much you pay me. Am I worth it? Am I working hard enough for you?
I'm going to be a crotchety old man for just a second. I wish kids these days would learn that right there.
Yeah.
There's so much more value in certain experiences than just money. Yeah.
And what was interesting, Doug, is I got to meet a lot of students. I met tons of people every day, and I got to say good morning to everybody. And I'm folding towels at the thing, and I was not good at folding towels.
But you know what? The universe put you where you were meant to be to lay your path for the rest of what you're doing, right? Like that's how.
One other thing before we go too much further. And
for sure.
The reason that's kind of funny is because his nickname, for our program, of course, we have people on with disabilities, and Willie is known as One Arm Willie.
Yeah.
Maybe is this a good place maybe just to say how you came to that, maybe tell that story too before we go too much further.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah. So, and technically I took the name One Arm Willie, and it kind of was at Loma Linda was one of the reasons for it, because I was on the phone all the time, and I was a facility director for the Drayson Center. And this is before Possibilities, but I was working with one of their development officers, and he started realizing that I'm pretty good at connecting money to narrative and to vision. Mm-hmm. And it was just funny that he's like, well, why are you folding towels? And I said, well, it's a job and I want to feel purposeful. And my wife was at school at that time. She was in the biomedical sciences school. And he said, well, you must do more than just fold towels. And I go, I have a pretty extensive resume. So I am One Arm Willie. I came out of Breckenridge, Colorado. I was a national champion sevens rugby player. I was a high school wrestler. I got a scholarship at University of Maryland. I lost my arm on August 15th, 1980 on my first week of school. I was working on the Watergate building in Washington, D.C. I'm telling this quick, without emotion, but there's sometimes it is an emotional story. And I was working under a cooling tower. I was a foreman, 18 years old, and I was getting government pay. So I was making a lot of money. Right. And I was on 15 stories above New Hampshire Avenue, and a rope came in, and the rope wrapped around my bicep, and I was trying to catch it, and the frayed ends of the rope went up through a cooling tower shaft with me attached to it.
Boy.
And so at the time, my arm was kind of ripped off. The bone was broken in half and gone from right midway down the forearm. And at that time, my bicep was dripping down the arm, and I'm still in the machine, and blood is squirting everywhere like a fire hose. And I saw my hand in front of me, and then I realized that, wow, that is my hand.
You're
and
like, whoops, this is not good, people.
Yeah, and I was really bummed out, but I wasn't like, oh, whoops. I was like, crap. That's what I was saying. And so then I shoved the bicep, went up into the cavity, and I stopped bleeding, and I knew I could possibly get out of there. So I threw the arm in front of me and dove out of the hole of where I was, because everyone thought I was dead. And then I sat on the ground there. I felt fairly decent, and I was in really good shape. So I got up,
rugby and wrestling and everything.
Yeah, so I ran to the edge of the building, and I jumped in a debris pan, took it to the ground, and ran down the middle of the New Hampshire Avenue to Washington Circle, about a mile away, bouncing off cars. And it's a long story. I mean, that just getting to the hospital is a long story. Yeah. And a day later, I wake up, after the surgery, and I hear the beeping, of the EKG. And I look over to my left. I didn't want to look because I wasn't sure if I was dreaming or where I was. Mm-hmm. And I go, man, really? Oh. And so was a definitely a turning point in life. And just real quick, I didn't come back right away. It took me probably 2 years. Because I was workman's comp, so I was getting like $500 a month. And I took all that money and bought a ticket and went to Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and backpacked around the world for like 2 years. And then I came back and decided I can do whatever I want, be whatever I want. I just have to work harder than other people, and then stick my nose in the game and get my head knocked off quite a bit, and said, so be it.
Yeah.
And no matter what I tried, I hate saying this, but I was better than I was before, because I worked way harder. I mean, being a college wrestler is pretty difficult. Being a one-armed athlete and accelerating in life was harder, but I was ready for the hard work. And I was a bike messenger in Washington, D.C. as my first job back. And I worked as a messenger, making more money than I ever made in my life. I ran into a guy named Kirk Bauer, who ran Disabled Sports USA on the streets of DC. He wanted to know if I wanted to do more with my life than play rugby, get in fights, and drink beer. And
as fun as that was.
yeah. And he goes, and I go, no, I got it made.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, and then he offered me a job in Breckenridge, and I was an intern for the Breckenridge Outdoor Education Center. And that was maybe 1985 or something. Yeah. And I felt like I had something to offer the community. But the community actually offered me more. I learned a lot. I learned way more than I learned from little kids and everyone I worked with. They taught me more than I ever taught them. And I had that value, though, Doug. I felt value helping people. Yeah. And just real quick sidebar, and that's why I kind of get a little ticked off when I see programming that is purely able-bodied program for the disabled, because we're taking away that opportunity to give back to our community. And I'm saying this to anyone that's listening is, develop people, be leaders, develop young people coming up into the system with disabilities that can end up running your programs. Yeah. And it's powerful. It's a really powerful thing.
It almost should be mandatory.
Mandatory.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe make it a condition of your funding or something like that.
It's just like you can't leave some of these incredible people. And Doug, you and I know, through Possibilities, we met a lot of people. Yeah. And some of these kids and moms and dads and senior citizens and people that have gone through the ringer and come out on the other side and get out there and get after it, man, they motivate me to where, look, I'm 64 years old now and I'm not taking a break. Yeah. Yeah.
I realized very quickly doing this that we're talking to the people that have made that transition. And, and then I really started, and I still am worried about, and how do I find the people that have gone through, a life-changing injury or diagnosis or whatever it is, and they've withdrawn, they're isolated. We're not talking to them. How do we reach them? And I really haven't.
Here we go. That's my thing. Is I think earlier I said before we were on the air, I said that the attitude was if you're disabled, say you have an injury, it's pretty bad. Yeah. But the worst than that injury is a bad attitude. And I can pull stuff off because I'm willing to fail, and quit is not in my mind. Failing and getting up and trying a different way. And this is what the children, like the kids with disabilities that I met when I was newly injured, they see life not through the pinhole, but through the horizon. They see it all. Yeah. And they have their eyes wide open. And I was living life in a little pinhole because I thought I was the shizzle.
Right.
Pre-injury.
And maybe I was, but
I think it's true what you're saying, though, because I'm thinking of you as an athlete and using the fortitude of like athleticism to kind of, like you said, stick your nose back in it and stuff. I think that, and you said this before, attitude is so big in how we recover or strive or whatever it is, right? Like generally, Doug and I sit here with pretty good attitudes, but also almost every week I say that we are blown away by the people we meet. Like, Yeah.
There's nothing that can, like, that guy. I don't know, somewhere in my 19th, 20th birthday, I buried that guy. And that guy couldn't touch who I am now. And who I am now is so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was blown away. And this was from the kids, that the ability adaptable to adapt, or possibilities, is it's in all of us, but it sometimes takes trauma to bring it out. You know, it takes, sometimes you have to be in the gutter at the very bottom. And if you just keep clawing and your fingertips are bleeding, that's when life is at its finest.
And that's the other thing that I hear over and over here is I wouldn't change anything. My life is better than it's ever been. You know, and I owe so much of what my life is now to everything I've experienced post, again, diagnosis or injury or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, and the trauma, like, you know, it isolated me, and I isolated myself because I had no
that was my question, you know, because it sounded just the way you told it in its brevity. You know, it sounds like you just turned the corner real quick and got on with your life. But yeah, I imagine there was some struggles there.
I left, and then I started accelerating in sports. And I was pretty good at able-bodied sports, and I never did any disabled sports. And then at one point somewhere, and I think I wasn't at Loma Linda at this time because I'd already done the Norwegian Paralympics in Oslo. I was getting ready to go to Japan when I was in Loma Linda for Nagano. And, you know, I knew that my skill sets were kind of the tip of the spear. And I did that little Loma Linda Lopers runs, you know, the half marathon or something like that. And I won it. And people are like, how'd you do that? You only have one arm.
You're like, okay.
Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, I train all the time. I put in sick numbers of hours. I was young and fast as heck. And it's like, you know, I had the formula. So I had access to that just by my VO2 max, you know, my cardio excellence or whatever. But my thing is that I realized that, and this is going back to what you said a little bit ago, Doug, is that once I became very successful in sports, all of a sudden opened all these doors. And that's how I climbed up the ladder at Loma Linda. You know, that's where I moved up. And ultimately that's what created possibilities, was that noticeability, noticing someone with a disability kicking everyone's butt. I mean, people noticed that. Yeah. And so I parlayed that into what ultimately became possibilities and started telling the stories of your own patients at your own hospital and success stories. It's really a very cool story, and it works, and it lifts the boats because the tip of the spear is nothing without the shaft. And most of our people live on that shaft. And the ones that don't get this message is because they haven't had the opportunity to access, or they haven't opened their eyes wide enough to seek it. But that's one of our jobs, is like, you can be anything you want to be. Yeah. You might not be the fastest, but people respect you for giving it a go. Yeah. And that's what I learned the most, is falling on your face and trying. That is respect, man. Yeah. People respect that. And that's all you want. And if you can get respect as a person with multiple disabilities, or what someone would say more severe than others. Yeah. I've seen plenty of people that have spinal cord injuries who kick my butt. You know, it's like, I've seen quadriplegics that can own me. I mean, it's just, it matters where we stand and what sport we play. And, you know, I can't push a wheelchair worth a toot. Those guys, they go, I went like 10:30 or 10:38 at Ironman Kona. And those guys now are down in the low 9s. I mean,
peace.
Exactly. These are people with disabilities. And I did Kona again. I've done it now 5 times, the Ironman World Championship. And there was probably me and another person with a disability in the race the year I did it. I think there was 25 people the last time I did it. And a lot of the athletes in it were a mother and father, or a brother and a sister, and they were racing as duos, which kind of started with the Rick and Dick Hoyt. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah.
But all those duos, do you remember, Doug, that we would put the duos in the triathlons at the Possibilities Triathlon?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a bunch of those guys went on to do Ironman, which is really cool.
I remember seeing Dick Hoyt and his son down in La Jolla.
Yeah.
Out there in the ocean. And yeah, wow.
I'm heading down there on Friday.
I think it shows you, though, that the limit is in people's heads, right?
Yeah.
Like that we get a certain container. I always tell people, like when I'm explaining something about myself, I'm like, well, this is my container, but the rest of me is so much more. And I think that people like you guys who get out there and kick butt, I'm like, slow.
Yeah.
Sports is not my gig, but I will motivate the hell out of you.
But you kick butt in other ways.
Yes,
I try. In your arena. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's one of those things is telling people it's just a container, and a container, you're limiting your own container. So let's go.
That's one thing I think I've learned about myself doing this is that, first of all, and I think I've said this before too, we never had conversations around the dinner table when I was a kid, like my parents weren't, you're disabled, but you could do anything, or crippled, whatever they'd said back then. But, it's the way they raised me, it never entered my mind. So when I go out, went out for a job or, as I went through my radio career, I never took an opportunity and said, can I do this? Is my disability going to let me do this? There were other things that I might question, but that never entered my mind. And again, I don't know if that was naivete or, hopefully it was just my heart, and my will to do that.
I would say, you don't know it, but it's different. If you lack courage, it kind of takes an I don't give an F attitude,
Yeah.
I don't, and if you can get that, but have it, but positive about it. It's like, hey, I might get my nose bloodied. And that's how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, if
for
you're not
everybody.
willing, and risk, we're risk averse, a lot of people. But if you notice our population, our peeps do crazy stuff.
Yes, we could introduce you to some of them that we hang out with on the show.
I mean, a lot of our people, the reason they're in chairs is because they're kook, man.
Yeah. And that's one thing I always say too, is like, your personality doesn't change because suddenly you're, a quad or a para and, you're in a chair. Yeah. There was a kid when I went skiing up at USARC. The instructor was telling me there was a kid who became injured and they had to ban him or something because he was still doing so much crazy stuff post injury. He was breaking equipment and they said, we can't afford this. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
it's kind of a badge of honor to face your fears for everyone, able-bodied or disabled.
Yes. Yeah.
And for me, like because I see a lot of people in the fear, especially when I was working in Breckenridge, because I had so many people from the rehab centers that we work with. Mm-hmm. And, going skiing is to be in someone else's arms, basically, and 100% relying on them to put you on a lift, take you off a lift and go down a mountain. That's to be admired, not to be like, oh, look at this guy's scared, or look at, he can't make a turn. It's like, you got the courage to go into that room, get set up on a ski that you've never been on before, and then have someone help you get on a lift and go up a mountain 3 or 4 miles and then be 120 feet in the air.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of a badass to me. So, and that's how I like to look at all of our people that are willing to, it's like we're all little Magellans taking our own mission or our own adventure around the world. And most people don't realize how much guts it takes to do a lot of that stuff when you're newly injured and you're so fearful because you see how people look at you. You see their eye turn a little and you see and feel doubt. And the power is that you're going to prove them wrong.
Yeah. And you get both of those looks, you get the pity, you get those looks, but then you get the looks too. There's like, whoa, I admire that.
That's called the praise. Yeah. You can look at me from one eye, but watch me and then just watch what I do. And you can't watch what we do if we don't do it. So
no, that makes total sense, right?
yeah, I mean, but it's like I solo kayak the Grand Canyon.
Holy.
A lot of people are like, well, how does one of them guy kayak? It took a lot of time and practice and working with the prosthetist and figuring out how the angles work and getting power. And, truthfully, I probably right on the edge of death, maybe 5-6 times on that trip. And
you're like, probably not my shining moment.
no, but I got lucky a few of them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But I mean, I think if I did it again, I'd be better. But, when you strap a boat onto your body and then you jump into class 5 rapids and it's running 30,000 square feet per second, you get a little puckered up.
That's you probably don't know this, but that's whenever you come up in, whatever circles that I'm in. And that's one of the stories I always tell is about that is because you didn't really have a whole lot of experience in that. And you went to the highest level.
And I paid a price for it.
You're like, don't do as I do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Doug, truthfully, by the end of that, that was 22 days. By the end, yeah. I was, that's 10 hours plus. I don't know how many hours a day. By the end of it, it was trial by fire. But by the end, I was pretty good. And I still kayak now here and there. But when I had kids, I stopped because I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old, and I was rolling, and we have the pretty great whitewater here too, but it's shallow, and I'm upside down a lot, but I have a real good roll. But you have little kids, and you're like, maybe I can cut that one out. Right. And and a lot of people don't know, but I'm a 15-time finisher of the Leadville 100 mountain bike race. And the first time when I did that, I was at Loma Linda at that time. They wouldn't let me in the door. Because they said you'll hurt yourself or hurt someone else. So they said, but I'm saying that's kind of why I keep going in the door. Right. It's like, and now I'm a legacy rider at Leadville. I mean, and this is a new ownership group. It's great. But I mean, that first time I thought I was a pretty accomplished athlete, and they said, no, you can't do this. And I think there was 1,000 of us, and I think I came in like 400 and some didn't finish. And I was probably one of the last finishers, but I did it. And then I've done it 14 more times since. And I keep showing up, and I'm going to try to go to get 20, because I think it's important that our brothers and sisters take on some really hard stuff. And if you can, and it's risk, go for it. If you think you can do it, you only know if you try. And the Grand Canyon, I felt I could do it. I think I was over my head, but I didn't go down there to die.
Right. You're like, I got to get out of here. That wasn't my plan. But I think your message is good for anybody. It doesn't matter what container you can, right? Because there's so much, like I taught middle school, and that was one of the things that I loved. About it is saying to the kids, like, I'm different. I'm still here as your teacher. Like, basically, it's the inner city. They have really tough lives, and some things I think I couldn't survive, like from my side of things. And I'd always say, like, okay, cry me a river and throw your next card, and we kind of play that, but that toughened them up to see, like, A, you're going to get out of this neighborhood because this is not the place for you. B, let's move forward and let me teach you a little bit about the world you've never seen because you've lived in these 4 blocks. And C, like, let's write a big dream plan for your life so you can head toward it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. And I don't, like I said, I was going to college to be a college wrestler, but I don't know. I think I transcended that dream. And everyone's like, did you miss like going to college and wrestling? I'm like, who misses wrestling?
You just decided to wrestle with life and every other element of nature that was possible.
But what's kind of fun too is, hey, I don't know, Doug, because you go to the Christmas party and stuff every year with Possibilities.
Right. Yeah, still the MC. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm coming down to a Christmas party this year.
Oh, that will be excellent.
Yeah,
I'm looking
cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been back to Loma Linda maybe a couple times just for some little things, but not like really coming back. I'm excited to see everybody.
That'll be fun. Yeah, they'll enjoy seeing you. So
Well,
Clearly, you've done tons with your life. What are you doing? What's now?
you stole the question right out of my mouth. There you go. That's what I'm curious about.
yeah, it's kind of interesting. I am an ambassador for CAF, and I've been with CAF. One of my students at Breckenridge Outdoor Education Center was Jim McLaren, who they created CAF for, and he was the first grant recipient ever and that was 32 years ago. And so I do a lot with Challenge Athletes Foundation, and it is a really big honor to be an ambassador for CAF. And I take it very, very seriously, because I feel that anytime, and this is just in a nutshell, I don't even know if CAF feels like this, but I feel like when someone says, here's your grant, go pursue your dreams. You can do it. That means you have access. They gave you opportunity with the equipment, and you might even have got a grant that pays for your flight to Hawaii. But, the rest is up to you. And the coddle, they weren't holding my hand, and that was
good.
And I think I got my first grant. I was at Loma Linda, and I think Bob came over to Loma Linda to the Drayson Center, the pool, because this is before Possibilities was even created. And he came in, Babbitt, and he came in and he gave me a check for $2,500, and also you're going to Kona. And I thought that was I was really scared on that day, because I hadn't. So I went down, remember Fabio, but I went down to Brazil. I did Ironman Brazil, knocked it out fairly decent. I wasn't special or anything, but knocked it out. And once you knocked out an Ironman somewhere else in the world, then you could go to Kona. And that's what I did.
Okay. Like a qualifier.
But that grant, it wasn't, no one came in. CIF probably had 2 employees at that time. No one said jack to me. Bob came, gave me a check, took a photo, handed it to me, and says, you do the rest. Then it became on me. My excuse was over. My excuse was gone. And I kind of love that. I love that about CIF.
Yeah. Well, that's what galvanizes you to get up every morning when you don't want to get up and run all the miles and train and all of that.
Yeah. And then, the possibility thing is that I wanted people to know that whole person care, taking care of the whole person makes great citizens. It's like, that's what I wanted. I wanted people that came out of the hospital at Loma Linda to get world-class healthcare and then live a world-class life. Yeah. Pretty simple procedure.
Pretty simple.
Easier said than done. And that was Possibilities. And I'll tell you one thing. If you really want to bank on something, and if I was running the medical center, the university, that narrative is powerful. Hey man, you survived. You're alive. Yeah. Now go kick some butt. Yeah. And it's like, and believe in our patients coming out of there with no legs, spinal cord not working, whatever. Our baby's born today. We have to believe that everybody has 100% value in society. Yeah. And with all the assistive technology and all the things out there, nobody should be left out. And when a kid is left out, a family's left out. And that stuff pisses me off to this day.
Yeah, I'd like to say to all those employers out there, say, you can't do that because you might hurt yourself, or, you got limitations, but, please consider what they might bring to the table. They might have some unique quality that would, overcome that other thing that you perceive as a disability. They might just have that thing that, changes your business. Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell the both of you. I think I was a good employee, but I think and I'm a pain in the butt as an employee, but because I'm always looking for something to move up the ladder. I want to climb the ladder. And my thing was, I worked hard. I felt like if someone said to me, hey, stack the tables, well, you only have one arm. It's like, so if I move twice as fast, I'm going to keep up with the other guy stacking tables. How about I move 3 times as fast? And I think that's what people want.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're your own competitor.
Yeah.
But let's, even Doug saying that though, like limitations, let's have a reverse conversation about limitations, because them limiting and saying what you can and can't do shows their own limitation of mine. mindset, right? Like
That's right.
You've just blaringly showed your limitation in suggesting my limitation.
Limitations, yeah.
Well, that's the funniest thing with a lot of the disabled programs around the United States is like, when I go in there and I don't see anyone that looks like me, I'm like, to be adaptive and to be resilient is to be really respected. But if you take away my chance of showing you my adaptability and my resiliency, you've taken away the ability to learn. And before I was injured, I felt I did that to those kids. I never looked at them with the value I looked at other kids. And then when I was them, they were so much better at it than I ever would have imagined. And it was like physical therapy on steroids when I watched the kids playing with disabilities. I'm like, oh my God, did you see what he just did? And I don't even think the therapist saw it. It was like, those guys, those girls, they're unreal. And the biggest thing is I had a prosthetic arm, electronic one, which went awry a few times in my life. And one of the kids like grabbed a piece of paper and held it under his stump. And I'm like, oh my God, you can hold it under your stump.
Right. You're like, wait a minute.
Why do I need this
something
arm?
about electronics gone awry.
Yeah. I was like, why do I need this on? Why do I need a mechanical arm? And, I'm not good for the industry, but I do have a lot of arms. I have one for road biking, mountain biking. And, Mike Davidson at Loma Linda made all these things, kayak arm, different types of arms for all kinds of things.
Well, and that's part of that story. You get this adaptive arm that Mike, helps you make for the whitewater rafting, and you never had been in the water with it. You go. I want you to remember it's whitewater kayaking. Okay.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, that's right.
In a raft. Do John Wesley Powell was the first guy to go down the Grand Canyon, and he had one arm and he just sat in a boat. Well, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Of course you didn't.
Of course you didn't.
I've literally known you for 40 minutes, and I'm like, he's not doing it like that.
I wanted to be more Admiral Nelson, I guess, because he lost his eye and his arm, and I think he won some of the biggest battles in history, and he always stood tall on the front of the ship. And I'm like, I kind of like that guy.
I like that. I like his attitude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did end up getting a bullet to the throat, but he lived his life to the fullest. Yeah. And I think I might be past that time, but I still go for it. I mean, so we'll see what happens to me. You guys can record that.
Yeah. Come back and check later.
Okay. Check on me next year, please.
Yeah.
So do you have any kind of like a 9-to-5 job, or
Yeah. Well, so I was working for Loma Linda, and then I worked for a few other companies during that time. And then Lindsay, my wife, she graduated medical school at Loma Linda. And so we thought, she said, and I kept working for other companies. And then it turned out that I was much better at raising kids, and she was much better at making money.
You're like, don't fall off that. Your mom's going to kill me. But
so I earn a paycheck, but mostly what I do is I have kid responsibility.
But you have an admirable job. That's minimizing that job, even if it doesn't collect the paycheck.
That job is
way harder.
I come from a really big family, and there's 6 boys and 2 girls in my family, and you learn to roll with it. Yeah. And if you don't, you're perpetually upset.
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, my sister, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I'm really good at saying hello to people, and I like meeting people, but I'm really good also at taking care of the responsibilities at my house and with my kids and family. So I take that very seriously. So thanks for noticing.
Yeah. And it sounds like you enjoy, helping the kids, become adaptive athletes.
And, we have, and I worked for the YMCA here too, but we have a CF chapter, CF Idaho, which is pretty unique. I mean, I know we probably won't go into that much, but, we have a really incredible foundation that donates to us, and I tend to keep them private, but we're probably trend setting for the rest of the country on things we do here, and it's a facility that combined the adaptive or disabled population with veterans that are retiring and transitioning into civilian life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been very empowering for me, and I hope it's been empowering for them. I think us together is a pretty powerful crew.
Well, one of the things that I'm trying to achieve with this podcast is, of course, to tell the stories of disability, disability stories. And so I'm trying to open it up to more than just here in Southern California. And just because of kind of the circles that I travel in, a lot of our stories are people who have spinal cord injuries. But we've branched out a bit beyond that. But I'd love to have organizations from other areas too. And I've invited some, and we've had Bob Babbitt on and from CAF and Andrew Skinner with Triumph, and a few others, and I'm trying to remember his name now, from Ability Expo. So yeah, we've done those things, but yeah, I'd love to, because I know there's programs across America that do variations of this same thing, and it would be great to hear about them. But so we should have you back on to talk about that exclusively. And
yeah, Breckenridge Outdoor Education Center is a great program. There's one up in Paris, Spokane, great program. Higher Ground over in Sun Valley, great program. I can go, the list goes all the way across the country. And CF does have chapters in NorCal, great program. The NorCal group, SoCal, New York. CF's a lot bigger than people think. And the biggest part about CF that I always like is it's a library for people to say your kid's born today with something you've never heard of or seen, and your mind is blown. All of a sudden you click on someone that's in the same circumstance, a parent that's already gone through it. And it kind of accelerates the healing process, I think, because you have this negative, oh, I have a child born with a disability who I love immensely, but what will their life be like? And then you get the positives start coming in from all different directions that, hey, if I'm a great parent, I'm going to have a great kid, But you got to step up.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's plenty to digest for today. And now that I know,
you're saying we're done with you.
Yeah. Well, now, but not done with you, because I was just going to say, but now I see, now that I have hunted you down, sounds like we've got some other opportunities to hear about some programs and that kind of thing. So we'll keep you. We'll keep your number. I do want to tell you too before we leave, and I'll let you have the final word. But I don't know if you know what you kind of started, because my daughter came with me on that first triathlon. She ran the 5K, and that started a love of that for her. And she did some half marathons with me. She went on to do some marathons. And then, because, that's the kind of kid she was. And then she broke her ankle, rock climbing, indoor rock climbing. And the most benign thing, it wasn't like she got up 20 feet or 30 feet and fell. She was like 6 feet off the ground, fell, her foot landed between the mats, and she fell over. And so her foot basically was a J. So they put her back together at Loma Linda, and she misses that. She really can't run anymore, but she still rock climbs a bit, and now she's coming up on 40. She's giving me a granddaughter. And so, she's, I think, very happy, and I know I am, but you were a part of starting that whole journey.
Getting you out there. Well, Doug, you've been always a great messenger. So I would like it if you took this podcast and you find the other messengers out there.
Yeah.
Cause then it's an obligation in a way. And it's like Paul Revere's ride, someone has to say that we're out here and we're willing to fight. And all we're looking for is that access, that opportunity, and an army to stand behind us and believe in us.
Yeah.
And that's transformative.
Well, you talk about going to Ironman and seeing one or two competitors, and the next time you go 15 or 20. Well, and that's it. There's an army out there that's very significant and who has a lot of income that is disposable that they could make a change in some of the manufacturers or businesses' life. So we're an economic force as well. I think people dismiss that.
I think that's a great point. And if you're going to end on that, we are that force. And I think, especially if you're in the healthcare industry, we bill, like we pay bills. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, we don't want to be on the sideline and pay bills. We want to be in the game.
Yes, absolutely.
Just like, anyone who has healthcare is thankful. And then but we certainly don't want to be thankful and know where to go. We want to find, we want to go over the rainbow, man. So that's the way I am.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and there shouldn't be that many people sitting on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And I think with assistive technology right now, there's so many opportunities out there that it's because our people aren't in leadership. And that's kind of upsetting to me. Yeah. That's all.
I know I ran into a guy the other day, we were just chatting, able-bodied guy. And he said, this is a great time to be alive, to be disabled. I couldn't argue with him. There's just so many things out there, new things coming down the pike all the time.
Yeah, and we just can't let off the throttle.
Yeah,
and I told you that that guy Kirk Bauer that found me in the city, Washington D.C. on a bike and said, "Isn't there more to life?" That was 1990. I think it was 94. It might have been 84, but it was it was 84 because it was not George W., but George Herbert Walker Bush, and that guy that found me signed with George Herbert Walker Bush, the ADA, into the ADA, and that was transformative too. And it's like, but it doesn't mean a one and done. It's like, you can't let off the gas. And if you do, you'll be forgotten.
Yeah.
And the key is, if you're going to be forgotten, make sure someone's taking your place before you go.
Yeah. Pass that baton off.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by messengers are important.
Gotcha.
All right, guys. Well, thank you.
Willie Stewart, thank you for joining us here on Walk and Roll. I appreciate it. Good catching up.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And I'm really happy that I finally picked up the phone.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.
See you later, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people living with a disability.
I think it's even worse now because, they give me a roller coaster to run around town in, and I basically am just like trying to find the biggest curb to jump off
Yes.
of.
Right. You're like, I know I can return myself from hard things, so I'm going to.
Hey.
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live, wherever you get your podcasts. Life Limitless. Subscribe now.
Professional Training Studios, you're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
And we are back on Walk and Roll Live. So good to catch up with one-arm Willie Stewart.
So it's a good thing we don't use video, because you would have seen my jaw on the floor when he was explaining the quick and dirty version of what happened to him.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how do you keep your sanity to get yourself out of the machine, go running down the sidewalk? I'm like, how? This man has the nerves of steel, the tenacity of mind to not pass out immediately and just have it go so much wronger. That's not even a word, but wronger.
I was trying to think if I knew him or not. I was trying to think if I had heard the story before, but I can't imagine me forgetting a story like that.
No.
So I must have never heard it.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
And the fact that just what he did going forward, just how he was had the kind of attitude. I mean, like we always say, I'm sure there were some dark times and whatever, but he's kind of well, here we are now. What are we going to do next?
Yeah. But some of it's, I just can't think that some of that wasn't there before. Maybe that's what was there to have him do what you were just describing, right?
Well, geez, yeah. And I mean, just to have the fortitude of mind to be okay, stay awake. Okay, how bad is this? Oh, it's probably pretty bad, but I'm going to just keep on keeping on. Cause like when he talks about, the injury and realizing that his hand was where it shouldn't be, like right there, I would have been like, good night, knockout, forget it. I wouldn't have even been able to manipulate myself down from that scenario from what he did. But
I think I'd be right there with you. I think,
Yep.
Oh man. All right. Do you have any big events, anything you're doing coming up that's exciting?
No, I never do anything. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
No, it's early November, and it's just exciting that, well, one, I can't believe we're so close to like Thanksgiving and
Everything,
holiday time.
right?
And I'm like, how? Yeah. But it's work. It's accounting. It's coming to the cleanup, clothes, all that scary stuff for me. So how about you?
No, nothing big. Just getting together with friends for dinner who, I like it. There's like 2 or 3 groups that we get together probably at least once a month, so it's nice catching up and because at this age, now have you experienced this? And I've seen this being talked about on social media lately that, when we were young, we had all kinds of friends. And then as we get older, we just have fewer and fewer, if any, friends sometimes. And as I kind of evaluate it myself, I think, I've got friends, but, I'm single. My friends mostly are married, so they have their extended families now, and not only kids, but grandkids. So it kind of really comes down to a time factor a lot of times.
No, I think so. But I also I kind of like you, like no kids, like the typical ways that people meet other people.
Mm-hmm.
I work from home. I have no children. So I've been trying to make efforts. There are things on Facebooks where they'll have meetup groups or they'll post events and things. And I'm trying to stretch my legs and get out to some of that because like you, I'm like, okay, well, I'm here. My dogs are my friends. I'm trying to push it, so especially at this time where there's opportunities volunteer for things or, opportunities to know more people. I'm trying. Yeah. I'm trying to learn from you because you and your buddies.
Yeah, we get out there. I even look through, every city has a community and community recreation department or whatever. Yeah. And most of the things I'm not really interested in, getting together and making a puzzle or, so I keep looking to see if they come up with something that kind of strikes my fancy, but I keep pretty busy anyway. So
I know. I
I'll
think
survive.
your social calendar suffers not, but it's just being brave. And I think that's a good tip actually for people is realizing no matter what age you are, you still have something to give to the community and you still can contribute. And, we've talked about this before, but I think sometimes for me, I'll make the excuse of oh, I don't want to take my walker, or I don't want to use my wheels or whatever. And I'm trying to be well, that's not an option. So let's just move on from that thought and keep on keeping on. So if anybody's a hermit like me, we can make a hermit club where we talk about how we don't want to go out and push each other out.
Good little nuggets right there. I like them. So next week we have Surab Sarifi. I think I got that right. We'll check with him when we talk to him next week. He is unique on Walk and Roll Live. I don't think we've ever had a guest that has come to disability the way he did at 5 years old. Hopefully I've piqued your interest and we'll talk with him next week. And then other than that, that's all I got. Let's go.
Let's go.
Thanks again for listening. And if you like what we're doing here, if you're enjoying it, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends.
Tell a friend, send a friend a note. Even if you don't like it, do it anyway, because
either way,
really use it. And what might not be your style might be somebody else's.
Maybe they'll like it. Yeah.
You never know. Send us to your enemy. I don't know. Make them listen to us for 45 minutes is torture.
That's right. Just trap them in the car and go for a trip or something. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
Put
man.
earplugs in. I don't know.
At any rate,
give us some love.
Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Doug Vincent, along with Addie Rich. From the Agyar Professional Training Studio, this has been Walk and Roll Live. Disability Stories, Life Limitless.
Walk and Roll Live.